Hello students, welcome to this ICB mathematics lecture. So this lecture is going to be for the geometry part of mathematics. Okay. Since you have already given semi-prelim exams and you must have received your scores also. So now today we'll discuss how can we improve our performance in the final board exam. Okay. For that we have to understand the pattern of that board exam. We have to understand the mark distribution, all the details about the board exam, so that we can improve our performance from our performance in prelim exam to the board exam. So we'll discuss a few important tips from our board exam point of view. Okay. So we have done all the hard work so far. Okay, but we have to do something extra now. Okay, because if you want to, excel in the subject that you are studying, if you want to emerge out as the winner, so you have to do something extra, something different. Okay, as you must have heard, winners don't do different things; they do things differently. Okay, so we have to do something extra now, something different now. So let us understand. So since we are preparing for the final exam, which is going to be a written exam, okay, and based on that we'll receive our 10th standard result. So everything depends upon the final exam that is going to be there in the month of May. So today we'll talk specifically about maths. So in maths, the total weightage of maths will be 100 marks, out of which 80 marks will be written and 20 marks will be internal. Okay, for that 80 marks written exam, there will be 36 questions that you have to solve in 3 hours. Remaining 20 marks will be given by the school for your assignments, your books, your attendance and everything they have to consider, and they'll give you marks out of 20. So these 20 marks are in the hands of the school. So we can't do much about this, but yes, we can always try to get 80 out of 80 in the written exam. Okay, out of 20 also you'll get good marks from your school, no doubt about that. But that is in the hands of school, not in our hands. So today we'll discuss about the written paper. Okay, so what are the things we have to remember while going for the final exam and how to prepare? So today we'll discuss these 3 important points. First is the paper pattern, chapter wise weightage and time management. Then we'll see the general tips to excel in maths. We'll see how to revise at the last moment. We'll take the help of Romet Plus app, and we'll see what is the preferable order of revision of chapters before the big day or before the final exam. Okay, so we still have 1 month in our hands so that we can polish our skills, we can practice more and more so that we improve our scores from our current scores. So let us understand the paper pattern, chapter weightage and time management. Since you must have already given semi-prelim exam, few prelim exams in school, and you must have solved few sample papers also, you must have got an idea about the paper pattern. Let's quickly look at it. From this year onwards, CBSE board has changed the paper pattern. They have introduced few new things. So let us understand the new paper pattern for basic as well as for standard maths. So there will be 2 sections, A and B. We can say part A and part B. In the first section, that is section A, there will be all 1 mark questions. There will be 16 questions of 1 mark. That will give you 16 marks in total. There will be a second category, that will be case study. And there will be 4 case study questions. Each will carry 4 marks. So total will give you 16 marks. Now this is something new for us. Okay, so iske liye bahut hype ho raha hai ki what is going to be there in case study questions. But let me tell you, case study questions are also very easy. Not you don't have to do anything great in those questions. So each case study question will have 5 sub questions of 1 mark each. And out of 5 sub questions, you have to solve any 4. So basically जो case study question है, इसके अंदर भी आपको 1 mark के ही question solve करने हैं. तो ऐसे नहीं कि आपको पूरा 4 mark का कोई एक बड़ा question solve करना है. So it is also 1 mark question in itself. Okay. So the first question combined gives us 16 plus 16, 32 marks. That is first section A. Okay. 32 marks for section A. Now, in section B, we have 2 mark questions. 6 2 marks questions will be there. So total will be 12 marks. 3 marks questions. There will be 7 questions, which will give us 21 marks. And 5 marks question. So we'll have 3 5 marks question for 15 marks. It will be total of 80 marks. So if you want to score 80 out of 80, or if you want to improve your score, let's say अगर आपको स्कूल के प्रीलिम में या फिर आपके महेश ट्यूटर के प्रीलिम में आपको अगर कम मार्क्स में, let's say 50-50 में मिला है, and you are worried about maths, how can I improve my score in maths? So let me tell you, the paper pattern is very simple. If you notice carefully, if you see the first section, they are all 1 mark question. Okay, so they are all 1 mark question, and there are total 32 marks. So 32 marks are only objective that you can consider, because each question is for 1 mark. You can easily score 32 out of 32 here. Even after that, there are questions of 2 marks and 3 marks. So 2 marks, there will be 12 marks from these 2 marks question. Okay, so these 32 plus 12, that means 44 marks you can easily score, because they are all 1 marks and 2 marks. So this is very easy to score. Okay, we have to put little efforts for getting marks in 3 marks question, but even that can be done. So 3 marks के जो questions है, 7 questions, उसमें से आपको 21 marks मिलेगा. तो यहाँ तक भी आप आराम से स्कोर कर सकते हो. और जिसका में डर लगता है ना 5 marks question, there are only 3 5 marks question for 15 marks. So if you see the 65 marks are based on 1, 2 and 3 marks. So even if you do 1, 2 and 3 marks thoroughly, you can easily get 65 out of 80. And yes, 5 marks maybe आप जब attempt करोगे तो at least you can score few marks, you can cross 70 also. So I just wanted to tell you one thing, scoring 65 marks out of 80 is very, very easy. Okay, if you do 1, 2 and 3 marks thoroughly. Okay, and then when you do 5 marks question also, you can improve your score further. So let us see the chapter wise weightage now. Okay, now CBSE board doesn't tell us exact weightage for each chapter, but yes, the weightage is given based on the group of chapters. So the first group is real number and polynomials. इन दोनों का मिला के आपको मिलेगा 6 marks. Second group is linear equation, quadratic equation and arithmetic progression. Okay, so the total for these 3 chapters will be 20 marks. Third group is coordinate geometry. There's only 1 chapter there, coordinate geometry, for 6 marks. Next group is triangles, circles and construction. These 3 chapters combined will give you 15 marks. Next group is trigonometry, that is introduction of trigonometry as well as application of trigonometry. 2 chapters for 12 marks in total. Next group is areas related to circle, surface area and volume. So it will be 10 marks. And statistics and probability will be for 11 marks. So this total will come out to be 80 marks. So the 80 marks are divided in these groups. Okay, though we don't have exact chapter wise weightage, but by looking at the sample papers and by looking at the previous year's papers, we can somehow estimate what will be the weightage for each chapter. That will be approximate weightage. So in mathematics, there are a total of 15 chapters, out of which 8 chapters are geometry. So these are the chapters where triangles has the weightage of 8 marks, coordinate geometry 6, introduction to trigonometry 4, applications of trigonometry 8, circles 4, construction 3, area related to circles 4, and surface area and volume 6. So this is the chapter wise weightage. Now this may not be exact. There will be plus or minus 1 or 2 marks here and there, because this is the combination. For example, if we take introduction to trigonometry and some applications of trigonometry, okay, the trigonometry part. So the total here is 12 marks. 4 plus 8 is 12 marks. Okay, so it may happen that introduction of trigonometry will be asked for 5 marks and application will be asked for 7 marks. But overall, 5 plus 7 will be 12 only. Okay, this is the approximate weightage. Somewhat it will be same in your final exam. So this chart gives us an idea which are the most important chapters in geometry. So as you can see, triangle has the weightage of 8 marks. Applications of trigonometry has the weightage of 8 marks. So we have to do this chapter thoroughly. Coordinate geometry is a group itself. उस group में अकेला ये for 6 months. That is also important chapter. Also surface area and volume. ठीक है? So we get an idea which are the most important chapter. ऐसे कौन से chapter जिसमें से ज़्यादा questions पूछे जाएंगे. ठीक है? From this we can also get an idea. One more thing we can understand from this, and by looking at the papers, that जो नया क्वेश्चन आया है हमें केस स्टडी का, ओके, वो मोस्टली कौन से चैप्टर्स में से आता है. सो देयर आर फ्यू इंपॉर्टेंट चैप्टर्स फॉर केस स्टडी. Now understand that in the entire paper there will be 4 case study questions. 2 questions will be for algebra, 2 questions will be for geometry. अब जो ज्योमेट्री वाला पार्ट है ना, उसमें ये 4 चैप्टर है जिसमें से केस स्टडी क्वेश्चन मैक्सिमम पूछा जा सकता है. ओके, so coordinate geometry is there, triangles, surface area and volume, and some applications of trigonometry. तो इन 4 चैप्टर्स के ऊपर जितने केस स्टडी क्वेश्चंस आपको अगर मिलते हैं, you solve that. There are many resources. Okay, from where you can get the case study questions. And there are many sample papers from which you can get the case study questions. तो ये 4 chapters है जिसके ऊपर maximum case study questions आने का chance है. तो you solve all the case study questions that are available to you or that you can obtain from various sources. Now the next thing and the most important thing is the time management. They have understood the paper pattern. I have to understand how to solve the paper in the given time. Not just solving the paper in given time, but also we have to take out some time extra so that we can check the paper that we have written. मतलब paper solve करने के बाद हमारे पास कुछ time बचना चाहिए. तो उसके लिए क्या करेंगे? Now see, we have already seen the paper pattern. There are 2 sections A and B. In A there are 1 mark questions. There are 16 1 mark questions. And there are 4 case study questions. In section B, there are 6 2 mark questions, 7 3 mark questions, and 3 5 mark questions. We also know the weightage. The total number of questions are 36. So 1 mark questions will give us 16 marks, total 16 marks. Also the case study questions. Every case study question gives you 4 marks. So the total marks we obtain from case studies 16 again. From section B, we get 12 marks from 2 mark questions. We get 21 marks from 3 mark questions. We get 15 marks from 5 mark questions. A total of 80 marks. Remember, we have 3 hours to solve all the questions or the entire paper. So what we can do is we can adopt a simple strategy. If the question is for 1 mark, we can give 2 minutes to it. We can allot 2 minutes to it. Okay, so that's the simplest strategy that you can follow. So for solving the first part of section A, that is 16 questions of 1 mark, we can allot 32 minutes. Okay. Then for 4 case study questions, the total weightage is 16 marks, so we'll allot 32 minutes. Okay. So for each case study question, which will have 4 marks, हर एक क्वेश्चन को 8 minutes हमें ऐसा allot करना है. Okay. Then section B, for 2 mark questions 24 minutes, 3 mark questions 42 minutes, and 5 mark question 30 minutes. Okay, if you add this up, you will get 160 minutes. That means we are completing this paper of 80 marks in 160 minutes. So out of 3 hours, that is 180 minutes, we are left with 20 minutes. So हमारे पास 20 minutes बच जाएगा. Okay. Now understand one thing, why this strategy is important. Because जब आप first question solve कर रहे हो, let's say section A solve कर रहे हो, जहाँ पर पहले आपको 16 question solve करना है. You cannot take 45 to 50 minutes for that first question. Okay, you cannot get 45 minutes again for the case study question. तो वैसे आपका 90 minutes वहीं पे चला जाएगा. So to keep a track of the time. Okay, if you are allotted 32 minutes, at least 35 to 38, 40 minutes तक आप उसको solve कर सकते हो, and then you have to leave it and go to the next session. ठीक है? So that हमारा जो आगे का question है वो छूट नहीं जाना चाहिए. या फिर ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए for last 5 mark question we have only 10 minutes in hand and we are not able to do anything. So it should not happen. Okay, we should ideally be left with 20 minutes, but this is an ideal scenario. ऐसा जरूरी नहीं कि 20 minutes ही बचना चाहिए. Even if we have 10 minutes or 12 minutes, that is also sufficient. But somehow you should find out extra time so that we can check our paper in those last 10 to 20 minutes. अगर 20 minutes बचता है तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. But even if you are not managing to get 20 minutes, even if you manage to get 12 to 13 minutes, that is also good. Okay. So what are we going to do in the last 20 minutes or whatever 10 or 15 minutes that you are left with? We'll check the question numbers first of all, if you have written the question numbers properly or not. Okay, we'll check all the graph, all the axes, if they are labeled properly, if the scaling is written. Okay, we'll check the coordinates of the points if they are mentioned properly. We have to check all the calculation based sums, because most of the time we lose marks for silly mistakes. While doing addition, multiplication, we make mistakes and our entire sum goes wrong. So we have to always check if the calculations are done correctly or not. Next thing is we'll see to it that the final answers for all the calculation based sums are written. Also we see to it that units are mentioned. Okay, so जो भी questions हम solve कर रहे हैं, we should write the final answer properly with proper unit, especially in the chapters like surface area and volume, area related to circle. Okay. Next thing we can do is, for all the proof-based sums, we have to check the reasons. Now there are proof-based sums from triangles, okay, from circle. In those questions, we have to, whenever we are solving a proof-based sum or a theorem, we should give reasons for every step wherever necessary. the next thing that we can do is for the construction part, we have to check whether the given measurements and the required notations are mentioned. We have to write down all the measurements while we are doing any construction. We have to do all the markings, identical markings. We have to show that the segments are equal or the angles are equal. All those things we have to do properly. Okay. So we'll see to it that our paper is written in a proper manner and we have completely written each and everything correctly. That can be done in the last 20 minutes which we have in our hand. So we have seen what the paper pattern is going to be, what the marks weightage is going to be for each chapter, and we have also seen how can we manage the time. But the most important thing, how to prepare before entering the exam hall. Okay, so that is the most important thing. So for that, we'll have some general tips to prepare for the exam. Okay, so what are the things we should do? First thing, we prepare study timetable, which is a must for exam preparation, and prepare easy study schedule which we can follow. Remember, we are left with 30 days, just more than 30 days in the month of May we have exam. So we just have about 1 month in our hand. So you have to utilize it to best of your potential so that you will get maximum marks. Now what we have to do, you make a proper timetable, you give proper time to each and every subject, each and every topic, and you follow that timetable. You have to revise all the formula and important topics regularly because it is not possible to revise everything one day before the exam. So you have to start revising it from now onwards. The most important thing is practice NCERT textbook properly. Both solved and unsolved sums should be practiced. This will enable to get maximum marks. Now let me tell you, almost 60 to 65% of the paper, in fact 60 to 70% I can say, is based on the NCERT textbook itself. तो आपको जो टेक्स्ट बुक है ना उसका हर एक क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करना है बहुत अच्छे से. Okay, one step you can go ahead after solving the textbook, you can try to solve NCERT exemplars. Okay, NCERT exemplar में कुछ एक्स्ट्रा क्वेश्चंस है जो कि 5 मार्क्स के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इंपॉर्टेंट है या फिर 3 और 5 मार्क्स के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से वो क्वेश्चंस इंपॉर्टेंट है. If you study NCERT textbook completely, you'll be easily able to solve all the 1 marks, 2 marks questions and few 3 marks questions. Okay, even few 5 marks question also you'll be able to solve. But if you solve NCERT exemplar also ना, आपका प्रिपरेशन और अच्छा हो जाएगा. So the stages are, first stage you have to complete textbook, पूरा textbook अच्छे से पढ़ लो. उसके बाद अगर आपके पास वक्त है तो आप NCERT के exemplars में से भी क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करो. ठीक है. Next thing, solve sample papers to gain confidence and follow time management. ना सी फाइनल एग्जाम में हमें पेपर लिखना है जाके, तो जो पेपर हम लिखने वाले हमें पता होना चाहिए कि how exactly how much actual time is required for completing that paper. Okay, when I start to write the paper, how much time do I need? Okay, you have to get the idea about time management before you go to the examination hall. So you have to solve as many question papers as possible, and there are various sources from where you can get the sample papers. First of all, CBSE has already released sample papers for each subject on their website. And there are many sample papers available on the internet, or there are many hard copies. Like there are few books, few publishers, they publish books on papers. So you'll get all the, you'll get sample papers on all the subjects. So you can purchase those books and you can solve sample papers. I would suggest if you make a proper timetable from today itself, even if you manage your time properly, you'll be able to solve at least 2 papers in a day. Okay, so if you manage to do that, it is very easy to solve at least 10 papers in each subject before the final exam. और आप जितना पेपर सॉल्व करोगे ना, you'll get confidence. You'll also understand how to manage the time. Okay, and if you solve as many as 10 papers, most of the questions you will understand they are getting repeated. Most of the concepts are getting repeated. So it will be a good revision for you. So solving papers is a very, very important thing for improving your performance. Now, how to prepare? Now I'm just going to show you a few things which are very easy, okay, and which will be helping you in scoring marks easily. So when you're doing geometry, the first thing that you should do is proofs of theorem, because theorems can be asked in exam. The first part when I take geometry, that includes triangle, circle, and construction. So you have theorem from triangles and circle. So the first theorem is basic proportionality theorem. You have to do the proof of it. There's another theorem, ratios of two similar triangles, but the proof is deleted. Okay. Then we have Pythagoras theorem, and the converse of Pythagoras proof is deleted. So these are the two theorems from the first from the triangle chapter, that is basic proportionality theorem and Pythagoras theorem. These two you should do the proof very well. Then in the circle chapter, tangent at any point is perpendicular to the radius at its point of contact. This theorem is there, but you don't have to do the proof of it. There's another theorem, second theorem, length of tangent from an external point. The tangents are equal. That theorem we studied. Is a second book page, second theorem from circle chapter that you have to do. You have to do the proof of it. Length of tangent from an external point to a circle. Okay. So there are total 4 theorems that you should do. Okay. Basic proportionality theorem, Pythagoras theorem, tangent at any point is perpendicular to the radius. Though the proof may not be asked, but you should just prepare it. And length of tangent from external point. The proof is very important. So if you want to ask me which are the important theorems, I would say basic proportionality theorem, Pythagoras theorem, and length of tangent can be asked in exam. Okay. And then when we take any chapter, when we start preparing chapters, what we should do is we should do the easy questions first, and then you should increase the difficulty level. So I have listed out few questions. Okay, I have just listed out the sequence in which you can go. For example, if you talk about triangles, these are the questions. There are 3 columns: prepared, sufficiently prepared, and well prepared. Now, prepared means these are the questions which are the base of this chapter. मतलब ये question आपको करना ही करना है. Okay, anyhow you should do these questions thoroughly, because once you have the knowledge of this prepared question, then you can go to the next level, that is sufficiently prepared. Okay, there you'll find a little higher difficulty level. Okay, and in well prepared you'll find the highest difficulty level. So what you should do is you should start with the first column. Okay, you solve all the questions which are written here in this first box, as you can see this one. Okay, so from here you have to solve all the questions, because this is the most important question from your exam point of view also, and the concept also. So पहले column में पूरा solve करना है, then you have to go to the second level and then the third level. Okay, why we have done this? Because we have observed that from the first column many questions are asked in exam for 1 mark, 2 marks, and from the second column there are questions asked, but not as many as the first column. So this is the increasing difficulty level, or you can also say the important questions are in the first column. Okay, so you do it, you follow this sequence. Same thing is for trigonometry. In trigonometry, as you can see, 8.1, 8.2 we have listed out the questions. 8.3 exercise is deleted. Okay, so solved example may be 10th and 11th question is deleted. Fine. An application of trigonometry, you have to do the full chapters. Okay, because there is no highest difficulty level. As we see, well prepared, there is empty. So we have to do all the questions from the textbook. Next group is coordinate geometry. This chapter is entirely based on formulae. The part which is deleted from this chapter is area of triangle. So whenever there is a question based on area of triangle, that we will not do. Okay, so the question based on area of triangle should not be solved. Rest all the chapters should be solved. Then we have mensuration. That means surface area and volumes and areas related to circle. So here also we'll do the easy questions first, then we'll increase our difficulty level. So while attempting the paper, what are the things we should take care? See, remember, while solving the paper, you have to first read the paper thoroughly, understand which questions you can easily solve, you can mark them. Once you read the paper, you will get an idea that these are the questions that I can easily solve. So you can mark those questions and you can solve them first. But when you're solving the question, remember that solve the questions in the given sequence only. Don't change the order of the question. Though you have the freedom of doing it, it is not compulsory to follow the order, but it is good if you follow the order. If you solve it in 1, 2, 3 for proper sequence, it will be easier for the paper corrector to check your paper. And ultimately, the marks depend on the paper corrector also. Fine. So solve the question papers in the given sequence. In case you do not know the answer of a particular question, then you can leave the space and you can go to the next page and you can solve the next question without wasting much time. Okay. And when at the end, if you think that you are able to solve it, then you can come back to that question and solve. If you do not know the complete solution to a particular question, then you can write down till the known steps. जितना steps आपको आते हैं उतना आप solve करो. This may happen in especially proof based questions. Okay, किसी question में कुछ proof करना है, you know few steps but you forgot the other steps, you are not able to recollect the steps. So what you can do is जितना steps आपको आता है, you just write down that much. Okay, in maths the final answer is important, but even if you don't reach the final answer, at least those steps that you have written, if the steps are correct, you will get partial marks for the correct steps. Okay, जैसे कि अगर 3 marks का question है और आपने कुछ important steps इसके correctly solve किए हैं, तो you can get 1 to 1.5 marks or 2 marks based on the number of correct steps that you have written. So remember, जितना correct steps आपको आता है, you just write that. Do not write wrong step unnecessarily. Review your answer sheet in the last 20 minutes. As we already discussed, we can check the paper that we have written in the last 20 minutes. That was the few tips which can help you in Excel maths. Now, how to revise? Now, revision is always a big concern. We don't understand अभी क्या revise करें, कैसे करें, ये बहुत बड़ा problem हो जाता है, right? So remember, आपको आपका concept बहुत अच्छे से clear करना है हर एक chapter में. After clearing the concept, you can start solving the papers. Then you can start solving as many questions as possible. So how to revise the concept? ठीक है? So if you take any chapter, in every chapter there are few concepts, and based on those concepts there are exercises and questions. So in the chapter number 6 triangle, the first concept is basic proportionality theorem. Okay, to understand this concept you can watch this model number 4 and 5, because in the fourth concept we have explained the theorem. In the fifth concept, fourth model we have explained the theorem, and fifth model there is a question based on it. So if you watch these two models also, you will get the basic proportionality theorem concept revised. You don't have to do each and everything again. Same thing is for converse of basic proportionality theorem. Then we have the criteria of similarity, areas of similar triangle. Okay, we have question based on areas of similar triangle, but the proof of this theorem has been deleted. Okay, so the proof of this areas of similar triangles has been deleted, and the proof of converse of Pythagoras theorem has been deleted. Rest everything will be there. So all the concept you have to study. मतलब अगर आप triangle chapter revise करोगे, तो it will take you total of 51 minutes for this one chapter. Okay. So if you have any doubt, और अगर आपको ऐसा लगता है कि मुझे सारे concept की जरूरत नहीं है, I'm only finding difficulty similarity of right angle triangle, so you can just watch that one. Okay. So अगर आप कोई question solve कर रहे हो, वो आपको नहीं आ रहा, तो just understand, just see ये question कौन से concept के ऊपर based है, and you revise that concept. So that will help you a lot. It will save a lot of your time, and also you will do the required revision. Okay, you will not waste any time. Same thing is for next chapter, coordinate geometry. This coordinate geometry chapter is completely based on formula, so you have to understand every formula here. Okay, the first thing is distance formula. You understand the formula, you see the question based on it. Next is section formula. You understand the formula, you see a question based on it. Midpoint formula is there. There is a formula for area of triangle, but this concept is deleted, so this will not be revised. Okay, so we are not doing any question based on areas of triangle in coordinate geometry. Okay, next is introduction to trigonometry. So we have these modules: trigonometric ratios, relation of trigonometric ratios, trigonometric table, complementary angles, and trigonometric identities, out of which complementary angles is deleted. So we have to revise the other concept. जैसे कि trigonometric table, it's a very important thing. You understand how the table is prepared, and you try to prepare the table by your own. So once you prepare the trigonometric table, okay, that table for 0, 30, 45, 60, 90, अगर वो टेबल आपने कर लिया ना, तो उसके ऊपर का एक्सरसाइज भी आप खुद ब खुद कर सकते हैं. ठीक है. Next is applications of trigonometry. Now in applications of trigonometry, in our textbook, there's only one exercise. Around 15-16 questions are there. So there is no concept as such, because most of the concept is taken from the previous chapter, that is the introduction of trigonometry. So the definitions of trigonometric ratios we must have already studied in the previous chapter. So यहाँ पर आपको सिर्फ ये चीज सीखना है कि what is angle of elevation, what is angle of depression. Now when we see angle of elevation, it is explained in model number 2. But we should also do model number 5 because in model number 5 we have one question solved based on angle of elevation. Because ये चैप्टर ऐसा है ना, इसमें सिर्फ एंगल ऑफ एलिवेशन कॉन्सेप्ट सीखना नहीं होगा, आपको ये भी देखना पड़ेगा हाउ टू सॉल्व क्वेश्चन यूजिंग एंगल ऑफ एलिवेशन. सो यू हैव टू रिवाइज दैट मॉडल नंबर 5 also. So it will take approximately 25 minutes to complete revision of applications of trigonometry. Then circle. In circle we have radius perpendicular to tangent and we have tangent from an external point. So it's also a very small chapter. So whenever you revise in each particular chapter, remember to solve questions based on that. It is not just watching a video, but you should also take questions and solve them randomly. Next is construction. In the construction chapter, the first part, division of line segment. There's only one question based on that in this chapter, in the first exercise. So we have to do that. The second concept of construction of similar triangle has been deleted. So we are not doing that. So from 11.1, we will not do any question based on similar triangles, construction of similar triangles. We'll do all the questions from 11.2, which will be construction of a tangent and construction of tangent from an external point. Next chapter is area related to circle. So we have formulas of circle. We have formula for area of sector, length of arc, and area of segment of a circle. All these questions we have to solve. All these concepts we have to revise. But remember, this chapter is completely based on formulas. So for the chapters which are based on formula, what we should do is we should prepare a formula table and revise it daily. So write down the formulas in a proper table. You revise it daily. You write down the table daily again in a rough book, or you just keep it in front of you. Okay, so that every day, every time you enter your room or every time you start studying, you'll see that you will read this formula. So it should be in front of your eyes for the next 30 days so that you'll have it by heart. Okay, so every formula should be by heart before the end of the exam, and you don't have to mug it up. You just have to make that table and revise that table daily. If you do it every day, definitely you will have all the formulas covered. Next chapter is surface areas and volumes. So here we have the concept of cuboid, cube, cylinder, cone, frustum of cone, surface, sphere and hemisphere, out of which frustum of cone has been deleted. Okay, so since this chapter is also based on formulas, so we have to prepare the formula table and revise it daily. Remember, all these questions, all these concepts, cube, cuboid, we have already studied in 9th standard also. Okay, so the formulas should not be a very big challenge. If you revise it properly, you will easily have all those formulas by heart. Okay. And for this chapter, you should take any random question and try to do the calculation by yourself. मतलब यहाँ पर ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ फॉर्मूला करने से मेरे सारे क्वेश्चंस हो जाएंगे. You take that question, you solve it, because most of the time, you know, in spite of knowing the formula, we don't get the final answer correct because we make mistakes in between steps. तो जो calculation करने का जो habit है ना, वो भी आपका होना चाहिए. So when you are doing surface area and volume, आपको revision में क्या करना है? आपको सिर्फ formulas का table revise करना है. It will take hardly some time. But then you should take any random question and do the calculation by your own. Okay. So calculation practice is very important in this chapter. Fine. So we have seen how to revise. There is one preferable order for the revision of chapter. Now you say, sir, there are total of 15 chapters. Okay, 7 of algebra, 8 of geometry. How to revise all the 15 chapters? Where to start with? Now where to start with is completely your call. जो chapter आपको comfortable लगता है, आप उससे start कर सकते हो. But there is one suitable way that we find. We have seen that most of the students find this sequence easy. So I am just giving you a suggestion. You can follow this sequence. So when you're preparing before the board exam, one day before the board exam or one day before the prelim, if you are preparing, what you can do is you can start with trigonometry part. That is the introduction of trigonometry, application of trigonometry, and coordinate geometry. Because these chapters are mostly based on the formulas. Okay. Next you can do is linear equation, real numbers, statistics. After completing these chapters, you can go to triangles, circles, and construction. Then you can take quadratic equations, probability, polynomials. Then area related to circles, surface area and volume, and arithmetic progression. So this is one suitable, or this is one preferable order of a revision of chapters. If you want to make any changes, you can definitely do. But if you follow this will be sufficient. Okay. So this is how you can revise. So what we have to do is, as I said, our entire focus should be on revision and on paper solving. You solve as many papers as possible. Okay. it will help you in revision also, and also it will help you in understanding the paper pattern and time management. So you'll be so much used to writing the paper. When you sit to write the exact actual paper, board exam paper, you will not face any difficulty. Okay. So what we have to do is we have to set our goal now. We have to make a plan, as I said, make a proper timetable, and you follow that timetable, you stick to it. Okay. At the end, you will reach to your goal. So for the next 1 month, the consistency is very important. So properly you set your goal. You have to set your goal, how many marks you want to score in each subject. You have to make a timetable properly. You also have to make a plan of when to study which chapter. You have to cover all the concept, and not just by making timetable, okay, but you also have to work to get it. ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ timetable बना के रख दिया and हम लोग सो गए. It's not like that. You have to work and you have to implement the timetable also, not on 1 day or 2 days, consistently till the end of the board exam. So you have to stick to the timetable. Ultimately, you will reach your goal. Okay. So I'm sure that you will be utilizing your time and you will study smartly, consistently, and you will reach the goal. Okay. So I wish you all the best for your board exam. I'm sure you will be giving your 100% and your results will be very good. So wish you all the best. Thank you.